You ever stop and wonder what really happens inside your body when you eat only 4 eggs every single day? It sounds extreme, but the effects are not what most people expect. Today, I will walk you step by step through the surprising cascade of changes that 4 eggs a day trigger in your energy, your metabolism, your brain, and even your vision and hormones. Before you panic about cholesterol, let me be clear. The old cautionary tale about eggs and heart risk is oversimplified and often wrong. Decades of modern research and reviews from big institutions show a much more nuanced picture. If anything, I'm going to show practical gains that most people never hear. Energy, metabolic control, muscle maintenance, cognitive support, and eye health all get a mention, and the last ones are the real surprise. If any of this sounds unexpected, tell me in the comments because I read them and I want to know what surprises you the most. First, we need to tackle the biggest fear head-on. Are eggs going to raise your cholesterol and ruin your heart health? That worry is understandable because dietary cholesterol used to be equated with blood cholesterol and therefore with heart disease. But current evidence uncovers a different story. For most people, dietary cholesterol has only a modest effect on LDL cholesterol and often raises HDL, which is protective. Studies collated by large reviews show that the change in risk from eating whole eggs is minimal for the general population and often neutral. Professor Ian Murray at a British university recently summarized that context matters, especially overall diet quality. Imagine cholesterol as a mail delivery and not a fire alarm. The presence of cholesterol does not automatically set everything on fire. Sensory detail helps here. Picture cracking an egg bumper to bumper, sound of shell on bowl, a warm yellow tassel of yolk pooling glossy in the white that smells faintly of cooked butter and egg yolk. The kind of detail that reminds you this is a real food, not an abstract number. Institutions like the NHS and the British Heart Foundation still advise moderation for some groups, but the blanket ban is gone. Now that we have pulled that large stone off the road, we can look at what really matters. Protein is one of the clearest wins from 4 eggs a day, because eggs deliver a nearly perfect amino acid profile in a small package. One large egg gives about 6 to 7 grams of protein, and eating 4 means you are getting roughly 25 grams of very high-quality protein. Compared with chicken breast or dairy, the bioavailability of egg protein is extremely high, which means your body absorbs and uses a large share of it. To put it simply, an egg protein is like a complete toolkit ready for building and repairing tissues. If you're training or want to prevent muscle loss as you age, this matters a lot. Picture
Texture of a cooked egg white, firm yet yielding a slight spring under your fork. The sound of fork against china, the gentle steam, and the neutral taste that carries other flavors makes eggs a versatile vehicle for protein. Nutritionist Sarah Patel often tells clients that 4 eggs a day can be a practical way to hit daily protein targets without endless shakes. If this challenges your habits, write in the comments. Do you already eat eggs every day, or would you start with 2? Why did you try or not? You helping others by sharing your experience also helps me decide future topics. Now, let us move into how the fats inside the yolk behave as fuel. The yolk contains most of the fat, and those fats act as a slow-burning fuel that smooths blood sugar swings and lengthens satiety. Roughly half of the energy from a whole egg comes from fat, and that fat mixes with protein to slow gastric emptying so you stay full for hours rather than minutes. You will notice how a yolk that is gently cooked and still slightly runny coats the mouth like velvet, its warm golden sheen, and the subtle savory aroma that lingers on the plate. That stable fuel effect reduces the need to snack and lowers post-meal glucose spikes, which is useful if you care about steady energy or weight control. Try replacing a carbohydrate-heavy breakfast once or twice a week with an egg-centered option and track how your mid-morning feels. There are lesser-known protective compounds in eggs that deserve attention beyond protein and fat. The white contains proteins with antimicrobial properties, such as lysozyme and ovotransferrin, which historically helped protect the embryo, and now show interesting protective activity in laboratory studies. There is also avidin, which binds biotin when raw, but which is deactivated by cooking, so the common fear that eggs rob you of biotin is largely a myth if eggs are cooked. Imagine the hiss of a frying pan, the delicate white stiffness, and the clean, mineral scent of a boiled egg being peeled. This sensory memory anchors the science in real life. Researcher David Liu and Dr. Helen Ford have both published accessible reviews showing these components contribute to food safety and nutrient availability in ways many people ignore. If you care about muscle specifically, the leucine content of eggs is important because leucine triggers the molecular signal from muscle protein synthesis. Eating 4 eggs gives you a useful dose of leucine that helps activate mTOR signaling, which tells muscle to build or preserve mass. For older adults and for people who train, this is a practical advantage. To make this point clearer, listen to a short exchange I had with a patient, Tom Harris, during a clinic visit. He sat with a towel over his knees and a paper cup of coffee steaming between his hands and said, "Doctor, will 4 eggs a day help me keep my muscle?"
As I get older, I answered, "Yes, Tom, the leucine and the overall amino acid profile make eggs a powerful signal for muscle maintenance." He replied, "So do I need extra supplements or just the eggs?" I said, "Most people get what they need from whole foods, but pairing eggs with resistance work and adequate total protein is the safest bet." That back and forth shows how simple, practical advice can replace confusing supplement talk. The tactile feel of a fork sliding under a firm yet tender scramble reinforces that meals can be pleasurable and effective. Beyond muscle, there are deeper biochemical players to consider. Choline, B12, and folate from eggs influence 1-carbon metabolism, which affects methylation processes that regulate gene expression and detoxification. Choline is abundant in yolks and serves as a precursor for acetylcholine, a neurotransmitter key to memory and attention. If your diet is low in choline, you may notice brain fog or poor memory. And some people with genetic variants in methylation pathways, such as MTHFR, can be more sensitive to those shortages. Professor Ian Murray and nutritionist Sarah Patel have highlighted patient cases where simple dietary shifts reversed mild cognitive complaints. Sensory anchoring helps again. Imagine the clap of a wooden spoon on a pan, the faint sulfurous but warming smell of cooked yolk, and the creamy mouthfeel as the nutrient hits the gut. These are reminders that biochemical change begins at the plate. Practical signs of benefit include steadier focus during the afternoon and fewer late-afternoon sweet cravings. Eggs also supply lutein and zeaxanthin plus fat-soluble vitamins, including vitamins K2, A, and D, in amounts that matter for vision and brain health. Lutein and zeaxanthin accumulate in the retina and protect against blue light and oxidative stress, while phospholipids and vitamin D support neuronal membranes and signaling. The yolk color is an easy sensory clue. A deep orange yolk tends to indicate a richer carotenoid content, so seeing a vibrant yolk is the visual shorthand for these benefits. Studies from institutions such as King's College and reviewers in the British Journal of Nutrition show links between higher dietary lutein and better contrast sensitivity, which translates to sharper vision in low light. The creamy texture and the lingering savory note of the yolk are everyday reminders that these nutrients are present and bioavailable when you eat the whole egg. So, practically, what should you buy, and how should you combine 4 eggs a day without making it tedious? First, choose eggs from sources you trust, such as pasture-raised or free-range, which tend to have higher vitamin D and omega-3 content compared with factory eggs. Labels like organic can matter for production standards, but read them alongside price and availability. Chef Ana Silva likes to pair eggs with leafy greens and a piece of oily fish or a handful of walnuts to boost omega-3 intake and to help fat-soluble vitamin absorption. Try a simple plate: 2 soft boiled eggs on a bed of steamed spinach, drizzled with olive oil and a squeeze of lemon. The contrast of warm yolk and cool greens, the saltiness of the olive oil and the bright acidity create a satisfying meal. Store eggs in the fridge, ideally in their carton, and use within a few weeks. If cost is a concern, buy larger cartons and freeze extra yolks for baking, or combine eggs with pulses such as lentils to stretch protein economically. People I have worked with, including Tom Harris, and colleagues like Dr. Emma Clark, report improved morning energy and fewer cravings after a few weeks. If you want a quick recipe, try a skillet for one. Beat 2 eggs with a pinch of salt. Pour into a hot pan with a teaspoon of olive oil. Scatter chopped tomatoes and herbs and cook until the edges crisp and the yolks are how you like them. Serve with whole grain toast. To recap, emotionally, this is about more than nutrient counting. It is about reclaiming steady energy and clarity you may have thought were lost. Practically, start by replacing one carbohydrate-heavy meal with an egg-centered option twice a week and notice how long you stay satisfied. Evidence from multiple reviews shows people who make this swap often report less hunger for 4 to 6 hours and better overall protein intake. If this challenged your assumptions, comment below whether you already eat eggs daily or plan to try this experiment and tell me how you feel after a week. If you want me to show recipes that combine eggs with dairy without bloating, say so, and I will make that next video. If you enjoyed this clear, friendly breakdown, subscribe for more science made usable, and share with a friend who still fears eggs. Remember, small daily choices add up, and sometimes the simple food you overlooked is the most powerful tool you have.